Hi, and welcome to the very first in a series of 5 of my 5 birth stories. Today I'm going to start with baby number 1, my oldest. She is now 15 and a half years old, and she was born in 2008, and she started me out on this very interesting birth journey. She was born on her due date, which is not a usual phenomenon. It's very, very low chance that you'll have your baby born on your due date, but she was very prompt, as she is now today. And my pregnancy with her was very uneventful. For a first time pregnancy, I did have a lot of morning sickness with her. But I was also in chiropractic school, so I was under a lot of stress. But overall, very healthy pregnancy. I found my midwife because she actually had come and lectured at our school. And so, shortly after her lecture, I was pregnant, and she was the absolutely best person for me to have my first baby with. She was a mom of 8 already, and she had great experience as a midwife. And so she was very calm, very soothing, and very, very confident. And so, as a first-time mom, that was a real win for me, having a home birth for the first time, having chosen that. Now, I'll say I didn't really know a whole lot about birth until this midwife came and talked at our school. And she also had brought with her the movie, The Business of Being Born. Very, very mind-shifting movie, if you haven't seen it. This was really my first exposure to birth. So I really thought, I'm going to have a home birth. That just seems like the best way to go. And my husband, funny enough, had told his family, he'd already thought about how he wanted to birth his babies well before he even met his wife, which is me. So he had told his mom, whoever I marry is going to have all home births. And his mom said, good luck finding her. And lo and behold, he found me. So we did the Bradley Method birth classes together, along with a couple other students at my chiropractic college who were also pregnant at the same time. It was a really good first introductory course for us, being new parents and not really knowing a lot about birth. I will say that it is very good introduction. Anyway, so we did have some birth education, and so I did have a very, very long labor with her, not knowing what was going to happen. I went into labor early in the morning, on a Wednesday. And I remember I did not go to class that day. I was still in classes. I remember not going to class that day, and telling Michael, he went to class, but then he came back, and, and then the rest of the day we just kind of hung out. We took a walk. I remember even going to the grocery store, which probably wasn't a super great idea. It was very uncomfortable. But I remember them our classes saying, stay active, stay moving. And so I did try to do that. And first time, it was very hard for me to relax and allow. I think part of the Bradley method was saying to really relax and let yourself go limp. I think I needed more movement. And so I don't think my labor progressed very fast because I wasn't really moving around a whole lot. And so in total, my labor lasted 30 hours, and 6 of those hours were pushing. And I will say I learned a lot from this birth because I was in labor for so long, I kept asking my midwife, do I need a push? Do I need a push? And she said, do you feel like you need a push? And I was like, yes, but I really didn't feel the urge to push. So I ended up pushing too early. And when you push too early, what can happen is part of your cervix that is not pulled out of the way can get pulled down with the baby's head. And sure enough, that's what happened. I had the whole anterior part of my cervical lip was swelling because of all the pulling of the head on the cervix. Makes for intense pain. Also, back labor. Baby, I was still in school, and being in school and not having the best adjustments by other students, my pelvis was not in a super great position. So that made it a little harder for baby to turn into an optimum position. And so I had back labor and I had that cervical lip, which then the midwife had to go up in there and push that out of the way for me. But pay attention for baby number 5, because I'll talk about that again. But in this birth, she went in there, she pulled the lip away, and my husband was worried about doing the Webster technique on me because we were students and we were unsure of our skills, and the Webster technique helps balance the pelvis for optimum baby positioning, which would have helped with the back labor. But he was really nervous to do it. But when he finally did it, the baby was out within 20 minutes. So with that, I will say it as well, be first-time parents, very, very funny moment looking back. I remember seeing my husband's face when she was crowning, and he looked horrified because he had never seen a baby's head all squished up, and he thought she was going to look like an alien when she came out. So that was kind of a funny thing. I just remember his face. It's like burned in my memory. But otherwise, she was pushed out. I pushed her very evenly and gently. I do remember it being pretty intense, but it went really well. There was no tearing. And after that, we didn't know if she was a boy or a girl. And I remember pushing her out and them saying she's a girl. And I remember them putting her on my chest and seeing those dark little eyes looking up at me. She had dark hair and dark eyes, and she was really beautiful. And after 30 hours, I was, instead of being exhausted, I was like so exhilarated. It was really funny because, then I put her to my breast, and, I had help with the midwife, and she latched on perfectly. And it's funny because I don't really remember the placenta birth now that I'm thinking of it, which means it was probably kind of uneventful. I do remember letting the cord pulse and cutting the cord later. But my favorite memory is that I just remember I couldn't stop staring at her. And I was so awake, even after 30 hours of labor. I was just in love, and all that cocktail of those good hormones was just filling me up. And I remember my husband was so exhausted. I remember him laying on the bed next to me just snoring. And here I was like just enjoying this baby moment, and he was dead asleep. So that is my baby number 1's birth story. And now, yes, she's growing up, and this is what set me on the path to wanting to get into birth education. After this birth, I realized that birth doesn't always go like that. Sometimes it's a lot smoother, and I got really curious as to how can I make this an even better experience. And so by my second birth, I was tearing through all the research and books and going through everything I could about childbirth and natural childbirth, and I was finding lots and lots of solutions to questions and problems that I was thinking about. So that is really what started me on that path, and I am so happy to be on this path, and I am so in love and passionate about teaching about natural birth. So I hope you enjoyed this story, and look forward to baby number 2. Have a blessed day.